Hello, Mike Addict. Yeah, man. It's been a good experience, man. But I'm gonna just start by telling you guys, it wasn't easy getting here. It's hard, man. And I was born and raised in Hawthorne, California. And growing up, I always thought that the homies, was a cool thing to be around because I had a single parent, my mom. My mom, she always showed me the right ways, and I just thought hanging out the park was a cool thing to do. Um, just kicking it, doing things with normal kids when it first started off, and then I seen the older guys, kicking it at the benches and stuff and doing their thing. And I always thought, what are they about, they look cool over there with the shaved heads and, they got the girls over there. They got everything cracking, they got the cars, my mom got home late from work. So I always thought, I could stay out here till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and be the kid I want to be out here. My dad was never there. My dad was a meth addict, and my mom said she wasn't gonna deal with him no more. So I had to learn how to be a man on my own, man. And I'd be out there, just chilling, and the cops would roll up, and these guys would just, slide me the gun, and they'd be like, go to the restroom, and that's how it started off, man. I started taking initiative, thinking that it was the thing to do, and in the long run, I started, just staying out late, man. I had a few homies that would, steal car stereos and stuff like that, and they would tell me, throw the spark plug out the window, let's get this radio, and I had a lot of friends that were getting caught up, man, and older guys that would look out for me, and next thing you know, I heard they were getting shot and shit was going on, and when I was 10 years old, I was in a room with some dudes, and they were smoking some stuff, and I was like, man, this smells kind of funny, but I don't know what it is, and one of them had a gun on him, and he pointed at my head and he said, hey, man, you better hit this shit. And I was like, all right. I was like, fuck. And they were laughing, and I didn't know why, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna hit it, and he's like, you better hit it. And I didn't know the gun didn't have a firing pin in it. But I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. So I smoked it. I didn't know what I was hitting was it was crack and weed, man. It was mixed. It was laced up, So the next thing you know, my lips started getting all numb. And I said, fuck, I said, this is some shit, this is my first high. I'm like, fuck, this is some weird shit. So these guys are all like, fuck it. They had another gun and they're like, fuck it, we're going on a mission, So they put me in a little ride with them, and we went up and we did a drive-by on these dudes just because the dude threw the other sign, from the other side of town. But yeah, my life started going downhill from there, man. I wouldn't listen to my mom. I had hair at first. I was 9, and then at 10 years old, my buddy, he came to my house and he was like, I messed up on your fade, homie. He's like, we're gonna have to shave it off. My mom was at work, and next thing you know, he's fucking razor in my head, and he's like, and my mom got home and she was pissed. She was like, what the fuck is this? This ain't my son. Why'd you do that for? And he was like, it was an accident. So the next day they gave me a pair of 56 Ben Davis pants. And they were like, just a little homie, they took me around. My head was all blue because I'm all white skinned, And they were like, this the homie Blueberry, They were like, and I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, man, this was over in Lawndale. And my mom was always working the grocery store, hard worker and everything. And I started getting in trouble, man. I started even stealing from my mom's store. My mom was in there one day, and we used to we call it mollywop the kids at, when you're in 5th grade and you're going to 6th grade, you beat up the 5th graders when you leave. So we shaving creamed them up and beat them up. We were beating up kids and doing stuff like that. And, it just started getting bad. All my friends were going to jail, and my mom said, I'm going to move you out of here. I'm going to move you to another city. And she ended up moving me over to Harbor City, Lomita area. And, it got worse from there, man. I started liking, the dress style. I got my last name on my bag, and, you're all fucking in high school. You got your last name, Kids don't have tattoos. I already had my tattoo, 15 years old. And, I had a lot of friends that were already hard into it, man. and then we would smoke weed and drink at school, and we thought it was all cool, you know. And and then I had this girl, man, the love of my life that I fucking couldn't get together for. I was just, stuck in my ways, and she would tell me like, if you don't stop this shit, I'm gonna leave you. If you don't stop drinking, smoking weed, that's it, it's over, you know. And I was like, yeah, right. She ain't gonna fucking leave me, you know. It's 3 years together, and I'm like, she ain't gonna leave. So I ended up being with this other chick that was just licking her fingernail, looking at me one day, and I couldn't resist it, man. She's on the corner, just like, and she was like, I know you got a girl, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but what's up? And she's like, what's up? Come to my house right now. So I went to her house, and I came back with hickeys on my neck and all kinds of things, and she seen the hickeys, and I was walking her to class, and she threw her books all over the floor and was like, it's over, you know. And after that, man, I really fell into gang banging real hard. It really hit me hard that I lost the one that I loved, and I knew 3 years I wasn't gonna waste my time on people for 3 years. It was hard to be away from my friends at that time because we were already getting into it, and yeah, we just I just beat up people because I didn't feel love. I felt my mom's love, but I didn't have my dad guiding me at home to show me the right way, and it started getting worse, man. I started smoking meth at 15. I started doing meth and going to football games and going to the parties and kicking with the homies after and drinking and going to motel parties. And it was one thing after another, man. It was just it wouldn't stop. Fighting in the middle of the street at night, 3 in the morning. My mom would pick me up, and she'd be like, "Man, you got to stop living like this." But I didn't know how to become a man. My mom had boyfriends in and out of the house that were gang members too, and I always looked up to them. I see them busting down, doing 2,000 push-ups in one night. I'm like, damn, I want to be like this, And no, and then I had a best friend, man. He was 24 years old. We were about 24, and he got his longshoreman job, and all of a sudden one night, one of my other friends called me, man, and I had this new girlfriend, which became my baby mama, and they tell me he got shot in the face, man. He might not make it, and I said, man, no way. He just became a longshoreman, He has everything. He had a kid, and I was thinking, man, this can't happen, And he was at a far hospital, so I didn't go see him. I went and retaliated, did what I had to do to get it off my chest, and had to sell my car and all kinds of shit because everything was up in that car, so I had to get rid of it. And and then 2 weeks later he died, man. And that really broke my heart, man. I didn't know where to go. That was my boy, gang banging on the streets, doing whatever. Whenever I wanted to fight, he wanted to fight for me. It's like a brother, It was something different than anybody else, man. Whatever I needed, he had me, and he was there for me. And when he died, man, a piece of me died. That just like a piece of the streets died, man. I was not seeing it the same no more. I didn't want to build a close relationship and make anybody my friend anymore, because I have like 4 or 5 good friends that died. They used to come to my house and knock on my doors, man. And one of them committed suicide. Another one got hit by our own people, and it's just it's just a cycle you see after a while. It's no right way to live, man. And I ended up having a city job at that time. I had a good city job that was keeping me out of trouble. I worked there 8 years. I finally got in full time. I became a pump station operator for the sewer department. I was guaranteed to make some good money. And one night I was in Wilmington, and I was smoking some bud, and I was going to the Super Bowl party, man, at my brother-in-law's, and they pulled me over and they smelled the weed, and I had a Class B license, and they ended up taking my job from me. They emailed the city and let them know, and I was on probation at my job for a whole year, so they had the right to take my job, So they're like, we're not gonna fire you, we're gonna release you. And I was like, fuck, this is the same shit, After all them 8 years, you guys can't do a program for me, nothing. And they're like, nah, we have to let you go, And then from there, I had at that time I had I think my son, he wasn't even born yet. He was about 7, 8 months old. And you know, barely, she was pregnant 7, 8 months. And that's why they had gave me that position, because they wanted me to start my life off right with my new son, you know. And a little while after that, I got bad on meth, man. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. And she was like, you know, we had an apartment. She was paying everything, and I was just, you know, spiraling out of control. And you know, I had broads coming that fucking would be outside waiting for me, and I'd wait for her and the kids to go to sleep, and I would do whatever I had to do, you know? Because when you're on meth, man, it's just fucked up feeling, man. You just, if somebody, you're living with somebody and they don't give you no love, you're gonna go get it, you know? And that's what I started doing. I started just, you know, being in the streets and waiting. At least I waited till my kids would go to bed, but still being around them like that, I didn't feel right either, you know? It hurt me to be like that. I didn't want to be around them in the house. I would stay away from her mom's where they would kick it. All her brothers were doing meth in the garage, and I just, you know, I just wanted to seclude myself, get high. Fucking, I wanted all the drugs to myself. I was like, fuck this, you know? And then I would go kick it with the homies, and I was starting to attack my own people. I was like, fuck it, because we have this thing for each other more than anybody else, you know? After a while, it's just like, you know, this, you know, if you don't like me, I'm gonna fucking get your ass, you know? And I started going after my own homeboys, and started getting fucked up, man. I started being in Wilmington a lot and not thinking about situations. People were inviting me to house parties and shit, and I didn't give a fuck. I was like, fuck it, I'm going over here. And one night, my brother-in-law, he invited me to a house party, and I ended up going. I had a 9 on me with 16 shots, and I went over there, and 6 guys hit me up from the east side. And the east side's kind of like our neighborhood. We don't get along with nobody, you know. And so Harbor City, but yeah, it's fucking. These guys hit me up, and I told them what was up, and some guy knocked off my brother-in-law's hat, and that kicked it off. I fucking cracked him, and he ran in the house, and he was from over there, but they were all from the same gang. They were different cliques, and they didn't like each other, so it was the same thing. You know, what I was doing over there, hating on my people, same shit was going on over there. And I ended up going outside, and these guys came out to look for me, and they were looking back and forth. And I was in the cut watching them. I said, fuck, they're looking for me, you know? And then they started to leave, and then I was gonna go to my van. And my girl's sisters were just grabbing my arms, and they were like, you know, don't do nothing. I said, I'm not gonna do nothing. And then they turned around, pointing at me. There he is. And then I just pulled my shit out and started shooting. Boom, 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 boom. And it went down, man. Them dudes had two guns in a backpack. They came out, they started shooting back at me, they hit me. I ended up paralyzed at the scene. I didn't walk. I left. They dragged me in a car, man. When I left, they came back and busted on my face. They missed. It was like I thought I was gonna be dead, man. I just felt like everything was gone. But long story short, I ended up making it, you know, and my little son was only 3 months old at that time. And I remember thinking, you know, I'm gonna change my life now. You know, I gotta do it now. You know, I gotta change. You know, people seeing me in the hospital saying, you know, what'd you do that for? Or, you know, and I said, you don't know. They're pointing already. It was time to go. You know, they're already coming. But my life didn't get better after that, man. I started using meth hard because my back would hurt. My back would hurt me bad, and you know, things started going downhill, man. My mom started kicking me out of the house. She started just telling me, you know, if you can't take care of yourself, you're never gonna be able to take care of your kids, you know. And I ended up being high at my baby mom's house. I ended up having another son, who's a blessing after I was shot, you know. So I got two sons. I got a 14 and a 12-year-old, and started really thinking about life, man. Like, fuck, you know, what am I doing here? My city job went down, and my whole life went down after that. I couldn't control myself, and I started fucking hearing voices, all that bullshit that comes along with meth, you know. I started fucking just, you know, being out there in the middle of the night. I wouldn't come out all day. I would just stay secluded, you know, be in the room. And then one day my parole officer was like, you know what? I had just gotten out of prison, And he told me, you're gonna go to a program, man. He goes, tomorrow you gotta go to Fred Brown and check in. And I was like, it's my fucking birthday. I'm not going to check in. Fuck that. I'm gonna go live it up for tonight, maybe tomorrow. He was like, man, you gotta go. It's Friday. I know it's your birthday, but go do your thing and then check in. And I was like, I'm not gonna go, man. So I fucking went and ate with the family, and then I started getting high again. In the morning, I was fucking taking a little nap on the bed. I had made me a bowl of cereal. I couldn't even stay up. I had took like 2 bites, sat on the dresser, and I laid down. And the next thing you know, boom, they just showed up. My parole officer with like 4 other agents. And I was like, no fucking way. I was like, fuck, I gotta fucking hit my sack. I gotta take everything with me. I was trying to get everything, take it with me. I'm going down. I might as well take it with me. And I couldn't find nothing. I was so fucking high, I couldn't find nothing. So they ended up taking me to jail because I didn't show up at Fred Brown. And I did a little violation. I ended up coming to the program, completing everything. I did the whole 9 months. I was doing good. I got out of here. I had a little part-time job. And I was having a good time with my buddy. I was still going to meetings. I was still, stopping by the homies' pads, doing all the same things. It's hard to stay away, man, when you're a gang member. You know where the homies are doing good and you know where the homies are doing bad. And you still want to touch those spots to keep your name in the mix. Because there's no getting out of a gang. I don't care what people say. You think you're going to get out, you're going to get killed. It ain't easy. Like people, oh, you could just go get out. Why don't you get out? Nah. I mean, you got to have some deep family into that shit or, some shit pop up that's unexpected. You're going out of state or some weird shit. But even then, you don't want to tell them that. But yeah, I ended up, drinking a few beers with my homie by the beach. And that's how it all started, man. I stopped going to meetings. I stopped everything that I was doing. And it was like, fuck, man, it really hurt me to know when I would take that drink, all the shit I learned here would bug the shit out of me. It was never the same again. It was never the same again. And the second I took a hit of that meth, it was even worse. It was like I wasn't even high. I was like, fuck, all that shit they taught me, what the fuck am I doing? This ain't me no more. Like, I know by these letters and by the steps, the letters are what got me, man. Opening up about my life, all this shit put into one. I told little stories here and there, but I never put it all in one like that, the autobiography. So that really hurt me, man, to get all that shit out about, friends and all that passed away, But yeah, I ended up, making it back, man. I got lucky. I got busted. I broke my baby mama's window because she don't want to take me to get my car in the middle of the night. I was high. And I was like, you're going to fucking use your AAA to get my shit. And she was like, I ain't going to fucking help you. You're on one, I was like, you're going to fucking do it. She's like, no, I'm not. So I played calm and I was like, all right, you're not going to do it. I'm going to fuck you right up too then. So in the middle of the night, I bust her shit out. In the morning when she got up, she looked at her car and she was like, what the fuck did you do? And I told her, that's what you get, And I realized I had a problem at that point. I said, I need to go back to fucking rehab. I got to go back or else it's downhill from here. I was already on a month binge and everything was my car was getting fucked. Everything was getting fucked up. Wasn't taking my sons to eat like I would. They wouldn't want to go with me. They're like, nah, they're like, you go get the food, daddy. And I was just like, fuck it, I'll go get it for you guys, Like, it's just, man, I looked like something else, man. Weighed about $120, smoked out, And I was creeping on my own homies again, creeping on all kinds of people. I didn't give a fuck. I was on a trip, thinking the world was against me, and it wasn't. None of that shit was true, man. It's all bullshit. Drugs tell you lies from the beginning, man. Lies from the beginning. The second you take a hit, it's all flipped on you. So I know I gotta stop, man. My sons need me, and thankfully, I stayed in the house that day when the cops were coming. I knew they were coming, and I said, I'm gonna just stick it out, man. I need to go back to rehab. I know Fred Brown has open doors for me, man. And I'm gonna do it this time. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this fucking circle, man. It just comes around and gets me every time, So I stayed in the house, man. I took a few more hits and I said, I'm fucking done with this shit. I flushed it. And I was thinking about stabbing the cops, man. And I was like, fuck this, man. I'm gonna just stab him. And then they called my son's names to come out of the house. They were like, Mikey and Jason, come out. And I was like, fuck, man, my sons are gonna hear me get shot, you know? I'm gonna do this shit. And I was like, fuck that. I put the knife away. I said, fuck it. So I put it down and I did another violation. And I ended up coming back, man. But I'm proud to be here. There's a lot of good guys here, man. All you guys are, you know, good dudes, man. It's just, you know, it takes time to meet everybody, man. You know, it's a cycle, man, around here. People come and go. So, yeah, man, my name's Mike, and thank you guys for letting me share.